Welcome to the Archetypical Mind Study Group. Today is session 8, April 28, 2025, and we are going to go into the Great Way of the Mind, or the Chariot card. Let's start with the prayer of
love before me, love behind me, love at my left, love at my right, love above me, love below me, love in me, love in my surroundings, love to all, love to the universe. Peace before me, peace behind me, peace at my left, peace at my right, peace above me, peace below me, peace in me, peace in my surroundings, peace to all, peace to the universe. Light before me, light behind me, light at my left, light at my right, light above me, light below me, light in me, light in my surroundings, light to all, light to the universe.
We thank the one infinite creator for this opportunity to serve, to know ourselves, to accept ourselves, and to become creators. Let our hearts be filled with gratitude to those of Ra for bringing us the archetypes as a tool for this inner work, and those of Quo for extending our knowledge of these tools. We extend our gratitude to the channeling team at LL Research for bringing us this knowledge. We invite Quo to join us in this working. We also invite our guides, our higher selves, and the ascended masters to grace us with your presence and to show us what we need to know. May all beings find what they truly seek. Amen.
Thank you. So this time I went into Google to find some definitions of the Great Way, and I found some from different traditions. So in Zen, the Great Way is often described as the path to realizing one's true nature or enlightenment. It's not about following strict rules or doctrines, but about cultivating a mind that is free from attachment and discrimination. In Taoist philosophy, Tao is often translated as the way, referring to the fundamental principle governing the universe. The Great Way in this context suggests a natural order or a way of being that is in harmony with the universe. In Mahayana Buddhism, the Great Way, also known as the Great Vehicle, pay attention to the chariot in the card, refers to the path of the Bodhisattva, an individual who strives to achieve enlightenment to help all beings.
Questioner, would the conqueror or chariot then represent the culmination of the action of the first 6 archetypes into a conquering of the mental processes, even possibly removing the veil? Ra, I am Ra. This is most perceptive. The archetype 7 is one difficult to enunciate. We may call it the path, the way, or the great way of the mind. Its foundation is a reflection and substantial summary of archetypes 1 through 6. One may also see the great way of the mind as showing the kingdom or fruits of appropriate travel through the mind, in that the mind continues to move as majestically through the material it conceives of as a chariot drawn by royal lions or steeds.
Questionnaire. Thank you. Then finally, as each energy center becomes activated and balanced, the transformation of the mind is called upon more and more frequently. when all of the energy centers are activated and balanced to a minimal degree, contact with intelligent infinity occurs, the veil is removed, and the great way of the mind is called upon. Is this correct? Ra, I am Ra. No. This is a quite eloquent look at some relationships within the archetypical mind. However, it must be seen once again that the archetypical mind does not equal the acting, incarnational mind-body-spirit complexes progression or evolution.
Due to the first misperception, we hesitate to speak to the second consideration, but shall attempt clarity. While studying the archetypical mind, we may suggest that the student look at the great way of the mind, not as that which is attained after contact with intelligent infinity, but rather as that portion of the archetypical mind which denotes and configures the particular framework within which the mind, the body, or the spirit archetypes move.
Ra, the sphere of spiritual power is an indication indeed that each opportunity is pregnant with the most extravagant magical possibilities for the far-seeing adept. And this is a general thing that they said about the sphere that this figure is holding here, but it appears on other cards.
Questioner, to conserve and efficiently use the time at this time, I will make some notes with respect to card 7. First, the veil between the conscious and the unconscious mind has been removed. The veil is the curtain, I would assume, at the top of which is lifted. Even though this veil has been removed, perception of intelligent infinity is still distorted according to the seeker's beliefs and means of seeking. Would Ra comment on that?
Ra, I am Ra. As one observes the veil of the image of the great way of the mind, it may be helpful to it may be helpful to ideate using the framework of environment. The great way of the mind, body, or spirit is intended to limn the milieu within which the work of mind, body, or spirit shall be placed. Limn means to paint, to etch, or to delineate. Thusly, the veil is shown both somewhat lifted and still present, since the work of mind and its transformation involves progressive lifting of the great veil betwixt conscious and deep minds. The complete success of this attempt is not properly a portion of third density work, and more especially third density mental processes.
Questioner, the fact that the veil is raised higher on the right-hand side than on the left indicates to me that the adept choosing the positive polarity will have greater success in penetrating the veil. Would Ra comment? Ra, I am Ra. This is a true statement if it is realized that the question speaks of potential success. Indeed, your third density experience is distorted or skewed so that the positive orientation has more aid than the so-called negative.
Questionnaire. It would also seem to me that since Ra stated in the last session, the limit of the viewpoint is the source of all distortions, that the very nature of service to self distortions that create the left-hand path are a function of the veil, and therefore are dependent, you might say, to some degree, on at least a partial continued veiling. Does this make any sense? Ra, I am Ra. There is the thread of logic in what you suppose.
The polarities are both dependent upon a limited viewpoint. However, the negative polarity depends more heavily upon the illusory separation betwixt the self and all other mind-body-spirit complexes. The positive polarity attempts to see through the illusion to the creator in each mind-body-spirit complex, but for the greater part is concerned with behaviors and thoughts directed towards other selves in order to be of service. This attitude in itself is full of the stuff of your third density illusion.
Questionnaire. The entities, the small black or russet and white entities, have been now changed so that they appear to be sphinxes, which we're assuming mean that the catalyst has been mastered. I am also assuming that they act as the power that moves the chariot depicted here, so as this mastery enables the mind in its transformation to become mobile, unlike it was prior to this mastery, locked within the illusion. Would Ra comment on that?
I am Ra. Firstly, we ask that the student consider the Great Way not as the culmination of a series of 7 activities or functions, but as a far more clearly delineated image of the environment within which the mind, body, or spirit shall function. Therefore, the culturally determined creatures called sphinxes do not indicate mastery over catalyst. The second supposition, that of placing the creatures as the movers of the chariot, has far more virtue. You may connote the concept of time into the image of the sphinx. The mental and mental-emotional complex ripens and moves and is transformed in time.
Questionnaire. In that case, I have a few questions on card 7 in order to finish off our first run-through of the archetypes of the mind. There is a T with 2 right angles above it on the chest of the entity in card 7. We have guessed that the lower T has to do with the possibility of choosing either path in the transformation, and the upper 2 angles representing the great way of the left or the right-hand path in a mental transformation that makes the change from space-time into time-space, you might say. This is difficult to express. Is there anything correct, Chuckle, in this guess? Ra, I am Ra. Yes.
Questioner, would Ra comment on that? Ra, I am Ra. The use of the Tau and the architect's square is indeed intended to suggest the proximity of the space-time of the Great Way's environment to time-space. We find this observation most perceptive. The entire mood, shall we say, of the Great Way is indeed dependent on its notable difference from the significator. The significator is the significant self to a great extent, but not entirely influenced by the lowering of the veil. Tau is the 19th letter of the Greek alphabet T, in heraldry, a type of cross called a Tau cross.
The great way of the mind, the body, or the spirit draws the environment, which has been the new architecture caused by the veiling process, and thusly dipped in the great limitless current of time-space.
Questioner, I am guessing that the wheels on this chariot indicate the ability of the mind to be able now to move in time-space. Is this correct? Ra, I am Ra. We cannot say that the observation is totally incorrect, for there is as much work in time-space as the individual who evokes this complex of concepts has assimilated. However, it would be more appropriate to draw the attention to the fact that although the chariot is wheeled, it is not harnessed to that which draws it by a physical or visible harness. Or what then, O student, links and harnesses the chariot's power of movement to the chariot?
Questionnaire. The bent left leg of the 2 sphinxes indicates a transformation that occurs on the left that doesn't on the right, possibly an inability in that position to move. Does this have any merit? Ra, I am Ra. The observation has merit in that it may serve as the obverse of the connotation intended. The position is intended to show 2 items, one of which is the dual possibilities of the timeful characters there drawn. And I looked up what the word obverse means because I didn't know it, and it's, I guess, the opposite.
The resting is possible in time, as is the progress. If a mixture is attempted, the upright moving leg will be greatly hampered by the leg that is bent. The other meaning has to do with the same right angle, with its architectural squareness as the device upon the breast of the actor. Time-space is close in this concept complex, brought close due to the veiling process and its efficaciousness in producing actors who wish to use the resources of the mind in order to evolve.
Questionnaire. I am assuming that the skirt is skewed to the left for the same reason that it is in card number 4, indicating the distance service to self-polarized entities keep from others. And I'm also assuming that the face is turned to the left for the same reason that it is in card number 5, because of the nature of catalyst. Is this roughly correct? Ra, I am Ra. Your previous supposition is indeed roughly correct. We might also note that we, in forming the original images for your peoples, were using the cultural commonplaces of artistic expression of those in Egypt. The face is drawn to the side most often, as are the feet turned. We made use of this and thus wish to soften the significance of the sidelong look. In no case thus far in these deliberations, however, has any misinterpretation or unsuitable interpretation have been drawn. Before we go into the meditation, I wanted to try and, if you guys can help me understand the meaning of time-space versus space-time in those discussions, because it completely went over my head.
Take out the
never
second
understood it.
Yeah, take out the second word, I'd say, and then it becomes less confusing. So when they say time space, just read time, you know, and
Okay.
they say space time, just read space, and it's less confusing. So for instance, we're living in space so we can move freely about in space time. We can, you know, I can go outside the house, I can go visit Neely, and I can, you know, I can move about freely, but I can't control where I go in time. So I can't move to the past, I can't move to the future, I can only be here in the present. And in time space, it's the opposite. They're stuck in one physical location, but they can move across time. So they can travel to the past, the future, and, you know, maybe alternate realities as well, but they're stuck in space. But the reason there's an illusion of movement. So for instance, you know, they can project their consciousness to wherever Carla was in order to channel, you know, yeah. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but why does the Great Way moves towards time space? What is being done in time space when we reach the Great Way of the mind?
So it's like the poo and cake analogy, right? So there's some people here who are new who don't know the poo and cake analogy. So basically I kind of relate each archetype to this in this analogy. Let's say you want to make a cake, right? So the matrix is the idea of the cake, you know, so it doesn't exist in physical form yet. It's just like an idea. Oh, I'm going to make a cake, or, you know, you have an image maybe of what the cake's going to look like, what flavor, and then the next card is the potentiator, which gives you the tools for making the cake. So it might be the shopkeeper who has all the goods who hands them to you. That's the potentiator. Or it might be the recipe, you know. And then you've got the catalyst, which is the process of mixing the ingredients up and, you know, like just agitating the whatever is there in preparation for the cake to manifest. And then you've got the experience of the cake, which is the cake in the oven, or, you know, rising, or the ingredients coming together to make the batter. That's the experience. And then you've got the significator of the cake, which is kind of the cake being presented and being eaten. You know, it's like how the cake presents itself. And then you've got the transformation of the cake, and this is where like the cake turns into poop, right? And it gets transformed. And the great way, instead of being like the another step removed, is basically every stage from 1 to 6, including its own stage, you know, 7. It's the entire journey from being just an idea to being the poop that is eventually goes into the toilet and gets flushed down the toilet and into the ocean, where we can imagine the ocean as some intelligent infinity, you know, where like everything sort of just goes back in there. Yeah, does that make sense? So to answer your question, the great way is like that journey of it's the entire journey, but also when you get transformed, Ra says not to see it as a culmination, but through that journey you understand that that journey isn't limited. It's all part of the same process, and you're, when you go back, you're returning into the time space aspect. Does that make sense? And then, yeah, and like with a cake poop analogy, you're the creator of the cake, but you are also the cake and the poop and
And
the ocean.
I guess the multidimensionality of us as beings mean that we at the same time are going through different phases in those 7 cards, but we might be, for this process, we might be in card 4. For this process, we might already be in time space. And for this process, we might still be in catalyst mode.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not completely sequential, and it's not always linear either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I what I find in my own working, there's cycles within cycles. So, you know, I might have a greater cycle in my life of working through the matrix of the body archetype. And, you know, it might be a cycle that might last like 10 years, but it doesn't mean I'm only working on that archetype. During that period, I might also be working on other archetypes, you know, for like shorter periods of time. And within, you know, it's like it's like the Mandelbrot set, you know, everything is embedded in everything,
Yeah.
in a sense. Or like a seed, you know, you might have like a walnut, and, you know, in that seed is already the code and the architecture for the tree. Everything it needs to become a tree is actually already in that seed, and archetypes sort of work like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. You explained it in a really profound, easy to understand way. Thank you. And now, if nobody has questions, I will clear the path for your meditation.
Right, so get ourselves comfortable and relax. Take a deep breath in, hold, exhale, hold, breath in, hold, exhale, hold, in again, hold, exhale, hold. Now starting with your toes, we'll relax and do a body scan, moving your attention from your toes to your feet, up towards your ankles, your calves and shins, your knees, your thighs, moving up your torso gradually, up towards the abdomen, the chest, shoulders, down the arms, elbows, forearms. Relax your wrists and hands and fingers. Move your attention back up to your shoulders, up your neck. Relax your jaw. Moving your attention up your face, cheeks, ears, up slowly to the crown. And be immersed in that relaxing energy. And then we're going to open up the red-grey energy center, the orange-ray energy center, the yellow-ray energy center, the green-ray energy center, the blue-ray energy center, the indigo-ray energy center, and the violet-ray energy center. And now that they're all open, you allow the bright light of intelligent infinity to flow down from your crown, right through your body, all the way down to the center of the earth. And you allow Mother Earth's obsidian ray energy to move up, spiraling up. You let them do their work, these two rays together. Now move your attention to your heart center. Focus on the area, the little dip in your chest, in the middle of your rib cage. Move your attention inward as far as you can. And dwell there for a bit and see if you can move it inward even more. There for a bit. Become aware that you're standing by the side of some sort of passageway. Is it a footpath or a road or a river? What is your passageway like? Maybe it's just a big field and the road hasn't been carved out yet. And you find next to you some sort of vehicle. What is this vehicle? Is it a car, bicycle? Is it a train? It might even be an airplane. What is this vehicle? How do you feel about this vehicle? Did this vehicle, is this vehicle there because you've arrived in it and it's somehow completed some sort of journey, or is it waiting to go on a journey? You board this vehicle in the driver's seat. How do you feel in this vehicle as its owner, as its driver? Where do you think you're meant to go in this vehicle? Where have you arrived from? Does the vehicle match the road that you're on? Are you comfortable in this vehicle? Now feel yourself merging into the vehicle. You are now becoming the vehicle. Your limbs become its wheels. Your torso becomes its body. Your head its engine. And you are being the vehicle. And observe what it feels like to actually be the vehicle rather than the driver. Do you have any desires as a vehicle? Do you have any aversions as the vehicle? Now imagine intelligent infinity in the driver's seat with you as the vehicle. And just be the vehicle with the creator in the driver's seat. And dwell in that feeling for a while.